Dr. Mensa Otabil, in Power, presents a deeply practical and spiritually grounded exploration of how divine power operates in the life of a believer. The book is not merely about miracles or dramatic manifestations. It is about living a life energized, directed, and sustained by God's power in everyday affairs, character, purpose, leadership, and destiny. At its core, Power answers one crucial question: how can ordinary people live extraordinary lives through God's enabling power? 1. Understanding the true nature of power. Dr. Otabil begins by redefining power from a biblical perspective. What power is? Power is the ability to effect change. Spiritual power is God's ability working through human vessels. It is not noise, aggression, or domination, but divine capacity released through alignment with God. What power is not? Power is not position. Authority without substance is empty. Power is not popularity. Power is not manipulation or control over others. True power transforms lives, first the person who carries it, then their environment. 2. God as the ultimate source of all power. A major emphasis of the book is that all power originates from God. Human strength is limited and temporary. Divine power is unlimited and eternal. Any attempt to live purposefully without God's power leads to frustration, burnout, and failure. Dr. Otabil stresses that self-dependence is the greatest weakness of modern humanity, while God-dependence is the believer's greatest advantage. 3. Power and purpose. Power is never given randomly, it is always connected to purpose. God releases power to fulfill assignment, not to entertain ego. The clearer your purpose, the more focused the flow of power. Misalignment with purpose leads to misuse or loss of power. Power without purpose is dangerous. Purpose without power is frustrating. The book teaches that discovering why God created you is key to accessing the level of power required for your assignment. 4. The role of the Holy Spirit in power. A central theme of power is the ministry of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit as the channel of power. The Holy Spirit empowers believers for boldness, wisdom, endurance, moral strength, supernatural results. Dr. Otabil explains that the Holy Spirit does not only empower for church activities, He empowers for life, leadership, creativity, work, and decision-making. A spirit-filled life is not a mystical escape from reality, but divine empowerment to handle reality effectively. 5. Power and character. One of the strongest warnings in the book is that power without character destroys its carrier. Key insights. God values integrity over intensity. Spiritual power magnifies whatever is inside a person, good or bad. Character is the container that preserves power. Dr. Otabil emphasizes that many fall not because they lacked power, but because they lacked discipline, humility, and moral strength. God will often test your character before He releases His power. 6. Power through knowledge and wisdom. Another profound teaching in the book is that knowledge itself is a form of power. Ignorance weakens even sincere believers. Wisdom empowers right decisions. Understanding spiritual principles releases spiritual power. Dr. Otabil teaches that prayer without understanding produces limited results. God's power often flows through laws, principles, and processes. Spirituality does not replace intelligence, it enhances it. 7. Power in prayer and faith. Prayer is presented not as religious routine, but as a power transaction. Prayer as alignment. Prayer aligns human will with divine will. Faith activates God's power in practical ways. Consistent prayer builds spiritual capacity. Dr. Otabil highlights that faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is confident trust in God's character and promises, which unlocks His power. 8. Power over circumstances. The book reassures believers that power does not eliminate challenges. Power enables victory in the midst of challenges. Key lessons include: God's power gives resilience during adversity. Power enables believers to rise above fear, limitation, and oppression. Power changes how situations end, even if it doesn't change how they start. You may not control what happens to you, but through God's power, you can control how it ends. 9. Power and leadership. Dr. Otabil strongly connects power with servant leadership. True leaders empower others. Leadership power is influence rooted in credibility and vision. God's power flows best through leaders who serve, not dominate. He warns against abusing spiritual authority, using power to suppress rather than uplift. Leadership power is measured by how many lives are built, not how many people are controlled. 10. Sustaining power over time. One of the most practical sections of the book focuses on maintaining power. How power is sustained. Continuous dependence on God, humility and teachability, discipline and consistency, gratitude and obedience. How power is lost. Pride, disobedience, moral compromise, spiritual laziness. Dr. Otabil emphasizes that finishing well requires more power than starting strong. 11. Power for everyday living. The book concludes by grounding power in daily life. Power to overcome sin, power to forgive, power to endure hardship, power to make wise choices, power to fulfill destiny. Power is not reserved for the pulpit, it is meant for families, careers, relationships, nations. Core message of the book. The central message of power can be summarized as follows. God empowers people who align with His purpose, submit to His Spirit, develop godly character, and walk in wisdom. Power is not a mystery. For a select few it is a divine provision for every believer who lives in alignment with God. For more insightful and faith-lifting audiobooks, do well to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching and listening to us today.